I've probably seen Revenge of the Sith like 1,000 times, more like 2,000, maybe even 2,500. Somewhere around that number, I've seen Revenge of the Sith that many times or so. But it doesn't matter. What matters is the other day I was actually watching it again for the umpteenth time, and the scene where Yoda's on Kashyyyk and they're like having the council meeting, and Anakin's talking about how he should go to Utapau. I guess I've never actually paid attention to the full dialogue of that scene, because honestly, when I'm watching Star Wars, I'm watching it for the battles rather than the actual dialogue. I mean, who doesn't? No, honestly, but yeah, I've never actually paid attention to that dialogue before. Like, I know obviously they say they want Obi-Wan to go over to Utapau instead of Anakin and whatnot, and that pisses Anakin off. But it's this one line I never heard before until now, and it's like Ki-Adi-Mundi being like, somebody with more experience needs to go, and it's like that is the ultimate middle finger to Anakin, because if you've watched the Clone Wars TV show, then you know that Anakin has literally bent over backwards and then some for the Jedi Council, and literally going on every mission and succeeding at those missions. I don't think there's a single loss Anakin has in the Clone Wars, except for letting Cad Bane get away in Season 2. But then he finds Cad Bane and rescues these, like, Force sensitive children. It's just, it's, that line about, like, somebody more experienced should go. That's such a fucking middle finger to Anakin. It really is. It's no wonder this guy turned to the dark side, because the Jedi Order was literally just like, fuck you. You did everything for us. You've been doing everything for us for the past, like, 3 years of this war. And it would obviously mean a lot to you if you went to kill Grievous to end the war. But nah, what we're going to have you do is this guy who you've looked up to, you know, for the past, 13, 14 years you've been here on Coruscant, we're going to have you spy on him for us. You know, that's just, the Jedi Council was just so fucking stupid. I mean, if you actually just watch the prequels and the Clone Wars, the Jedi are like so fucking corrupt and so dumb. It's funny. One of the things that like adds on to just the kind of idiocracy of the Jedi Order is the attachments being forbidden, and they're literally like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you a Padawan who is a little child, and they're going to be around you. You're essentially going to be raising this child as your own. And the Jedi are like, no attachments though. You can't be attached to them at all. And some Jedi are perfectly fine with that. Like in Season 2 of the Clone Wars, when Ahsoka and the other Jedi Barriss are buried underneath the droid factory. And Anakin's like, okay, we need to go find them because these are all apprentices. You know, he's like searching the rubble and like getting all the heavy equipment. They're like getting stuff. They're searching. They're digging. And Luminoa, who's Barriss's master, is just like, it's the will of the Force, and she dies. She dies. Like, that's about it. For her, she's just like, fuck that, fuck her. If she dies, she dies. And it's so, like, it's so dumb. Like, it's dumb. Which is why in the Legends books that take place after the original trilogy with Luke Skywalker, he like allows the new Jedi Order to have attachments because he knows that attachments don't lead to the dark side. What leads to the dark side is literally what the prequel trilogy Jedi Order is doing. That's what leads to the dark side. Plus, there were like so many Jedi outside of Anakin that were like had secret families or were like doing things in secrecy of the Jedi Order and them not knowing. Almost there were like so many Jedi that were doing that. I can't name them off the top of my head, but I know there was another Jedi at the same time who had a secret wife, just like Anakin did. And then you had like Ayla Secura and Kit Fisto. That's a story from the comics, I think. There's just a lot. But the Jedi Order was literally just like, yeah, you have no attachments, but we're literally going to put you in all these scenarios where you're going to develop attachments. Having a Padawan that's going to be like your child. Here's a bunch of clone soldiers that you are going to bond with, and they're essentially going to be your family. And, you know, which is why Order 66 is really sad. Because if you watch the Clone Wars TV show, you see how the clones, the individuality, and how they respected their Jedi generals, and then with a flip of a switch, they just like, that's all out the window. And to be fair, the Jedi Order kind of deserved that. They did, honestly. There was a video I watched years ago about how shitty of a Jedi Ki-Adi-Mundi was and why the Galactic Marines and doing Order 66 were ecstatic to kill him. It was something about how he was just kind of a shithead and he didn't care about the clones. Like, he didn't see the clones as like, he was kind of like a little bit less than Pong Krell in a way. He really didn't care about his clones like, you know, how Plo Koon cared for his clones. Like, Plo Koon's a Jedi who didn't deserve to die. Ki-Adi-Mundi and other, you know, I understand that. But that Ki-Adi-Mundi story is also in Legends, I think. I don't know if that's canon. Honestly, I'm not really sure what's all canon, because there's a bunch of Clone Wars stories that I don't think are canon. So, I don't really know. But back to the main point about the Jedi Order. literally just being pieces of shit. In Tales of the Jedi, we see Dooku mourning over Qui-Gon, and the Jedi are just like, he's one with the Force now, and it's just like Dooku tried so in Tales of the Jedi, we find out that Qui-Gon, obviously it's during the Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon tries to warn the Jedi Council about the Sith, and the Jedi Order's like, no, that's like impossible. We wouldn't know about that if the Sith showed up, and Qui-Gon dies, and you find out Dooku actually tried to warn the Jedi of the incoming darkness of the Sith, and the Jedi Order brushed him off too. And then the Jedi's like, oh shit, Qui-Gon died. Yeah, there's no Sith though. It was just a guy with a red lightsaber. It's not a Sith. Not a Sith, no. Impossible. I like to think the Jedi Order didn't want to seem like they were weak, so they didn't want to acknowledge it was a Sith. Because if they could just sit there and be like, no, it's not a Sith, then they don't have to, like, pretend that they screwed up and let the Sith come back. It's funny. But back to that point with Anakin, like, the Jedi were literally pushing Anakin to his absolute limits with having him go on all these missions and all of this shit, being a spy for, like, someone he's seen as a mentor for, like, the 14 years he's been on Coruscant, and then denying him a seat on the council. Like, Anakin, like, is more, qualifies more to be a council member than a lot of other Jedi. And them just being like, no, you can sit here and fucking sit in this chair, but you're not a master. You're not a master. You've done a lot of things that will make you a master, but you're not a master. And it's just, oh man, it's such a middle finger to Anakin to just, and he's like just like, the Chancellor thinks I should maybe go lead this campaign to fight Grievous, because obviously I've led the 501st to numerous victories, and we have literally fucking saved so many planets in this galaxy on our own. And fucking Ki-Adi-Mundi's like, no, we need someone with more experience. Despite the fact that Anakin and Obi-Wan have almost been on every mission together, literally for the time the entire Clone Wars has been going on, and they're just like, no, eat shit, Anakin. No, we're gonna have you spying the Chancellor. Obviously, we know that's not cool with you, but we're gonna make it. You're gonna be cool with it, and it's just like the Jedi just deserve to be wiped out. Like, that era of Jedi deserve to be wiped out. It's so. Oh man, yeah, you do have to feel bad for Anakin, because again, this guy was doing everything for the Jedi Order, and the Jedi Order just kept like not giving him the time of day. Like, would it really have been that much trouble to give him the rank of master? Did the council hold themselves in like such high regard that they didn't want the 22-year-old to be a Jedi master among everybody else who's like 40, 50, to 1,000 years old on the council? Like, honestly, I don't know. But I was watching the movie the other day, and I've never really heard that line. The someone with more experience should go. I've never heard that line before when watching it. And that line right there is like literally like, you already have the cut. Like someone cut you with a knife. And that is them denying Anakin going to Utapau, despite him doing everything. You're putting like lemon juice into the wound by just saying somebody with more experience should go. You could have like just said, no, we don't want you to go. We want to go. But no, they're like, no, someone with more experience. It's like, that's just like putting fucking lemon juice on the wound or whatever. Like, that's just making the wound sting more. You can just deny him to not go. You can just say, hey, we don't want you to go, okay? You don't have to sit there and go, someone with more experience, despite the fact that he's got like the most experience out of all the Jedi when it comes to the war, literally. But no, I thought it was funny. That's just me having a little bit of a nerd out in this video. I don't do a lot of Star Wars videos, but I thought this would be fun. I thought this would be a fun topic to do a video on. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed. I'll see you later with a new one. Have a good day, and as always, stay awesome, everybody.